Hey, welcome to the Fireside Tattoo Podcast. We are here with Holly and Aaron Della Vedova, our last day at Guru. And let me just start by saying that, so we do this a decent amount, bounce around to shows, shops, and you expect to go into a shop like this and have high-level tattooers, or you wouldn't fly across the country to talk to them, right? I mean, you expect that part of it. It's kind of a given. But the group of people that you've put together here, that you guys have put together, are the most kind, outgoing, decent people, all the way through. We haven't met a single person that are like, oh, that guy was just okay. I mean, everybody, all the way through. Alex has been next level, but I mean, everybody, all the way through has been awesome.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and that type of compliment at this point in my career means more than anything else. It really does, because I mean, that's how the journey started for me. 25 years ago, I started, and it was we all know back then it was rough. The characters were rough. The people were not nice. They weren't friendly. They weren't caring. They weren't empathetic and loving, and they didn't come to the job with that attitude. And I mean, I've been fighting my entire career to make a shop that people felt like that when they came to it. So thank you. Yeah. And I think, I mean, not only is it a great compliment, probably echoes what I believe to be the most important part of the game we play of tattooing, which is, I tell my guys all the time, you're here to be a great artist, and you are. But before that, you're here to take care of people. You know, I tell them, treat it like a doctor, come in here and be empathetic, loving, little things. Are they thirsty? Is that pillow really under their head properly? Maybe they like another one. Just being caring. Yeah. And we heat our water bottles. Just, does it need to be heated? No. But when that warm water touches the client's skin, there's a little message being sent, which is, I don't need to do that, but I do it because I want you to be comfortable. This is already uncomfortable enough. Anyway, I just think that's a good way to live karmatically. But in this industry, I think it pays back in spades as well, because people don't show that they're afraid. They won't show you so much that they're scared or feeling intimidated or just feeling whatever, but they are. Yeah. Even I've been getting tattooed for 25 years. I still go into it with anxiety. Absolutely. Well, how's it going to go today? Is this guy going to be kind of rough with me, or is he going to be gentle with me? And when you get with a tattooer that has that going on, you immediately relax into a different space. Yeah. And it helps the tattooers. I'm like, dude, you think I say that because I want you to be so great to the clients? It's only going to help you. They're going to sit longer. They're going to come back more. The whole thing's just going to go better. So and it all starts with the people. Good, caring, loving, genuine people. And I'm stoked you noticed that. Yeah,
absolutely. It made me, I've worked by myself in a private studio for the last 3 or 4 years, and just watching kind of the back and forth last night, I think Rory was struggling with something on his iPad, and Champ's like, no, I'll show you how to do that. And he came over and showed him whatever it was. And they just the kind of atmosphere, everyone was kind of helping everyone out. And I was like, man, I really miss that. I miss having someone. I enjoy being by myself too, but there's some aspects of that when you see it work that way. You're just like, I wish I had that. Maybe we should bring someone in the shop. They'd be crappy though. They wouldn't.
Don't say that.
Don't say that. No. Positive
vibes. So you were on the show a couple of years ago now, a year and a half ago, something like that, and we talked a bit about drawing, about tattooing, about artwork, and but the unique thing that you guys have going here is that, Holly, you're running a removal business under the same roof. And that's something we haven't touched on a whole lot in the show. The kind of, we used to have just tattooing and tattoo removal, but the way that it's working now with a lot of large scale stuff that you're doing, and those two things going hand in hand, where the tattooer is working sometimes alongside the removal technician. What is the term? Removal technician? What would you call them? Specialist.
In California, they're nurses or doctors.
Yeah,
operate the lasers.
I wanted to get into that too. But you're working kind of with each other too, because you don't necessarily have to completely remove a tattoo to work over it. Exactly. And so, do you guys have that? Is there a lot of that kind of teamwork happening? Are you working a lot on people who are getting tattooed simultaneously, or is it mostly a separate business?
Absolutely. Probably about 30 to 40% of our clients are getting something covered up, and they either work with our artists here at Guru, but we work with artists all over. I mean, we have some patients flying in from Arizona, and we work with their artists out there, Northern California, even here in San Diego. We work with a lot of Full Circle, Bill Canala's clients, Adam Turk's clients. So we all kind of network together, and it's great because we're able to remove only portions of the tattoo versus you go to another facility and they want to just wipe the whole thing clean because they don't know what you need removed or not. Our nurses, that's all they do is tattoo removal. They know skin. They all get tattooed. So they're on both sides of it. And it's not as easy as people think. There's a lot that goes into it, and they are very aware of the contraindications and everything. And it's a nice little marriage between them and the artist. So
I've even got a project coming up here soon where I'm going to. This guy's got this tiger. Someone outlined a tiger down his whole arm. It looks like shit. And it's just an outline, but it's a heavy, dark outline. It's thick and big in his whole arm. I'm going to do another tiger sleeve. I'm just going to draw a tiger sleeve the way I would draw it. I'm going to throw it on. I'm going to line it. I'm going to get probably halfway through the whole piece, meaning all the shading done. And then at that point, I'm going to send him over to Evolve to find out what actually needed to go away.
Which will save them thousands of dollars.
Because I have a feeling I'm going to find opportunities throughout that piece to be like, oh, this could be a rock. Oh, this could be black and gray background. This could be a stripe for the tiger. And then at the end, I can go, okay, we did everything we could do. That spot is still a problem. That spot's a problem, and that spot's a problem. And just go in there and tactically, dun, 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 dun. And then I can go in and color it after he heals from those laser sessions.
That's and that was exactly what I was thinking when I was asking that question. I'm just finishing up a piece now that's a full sleeve and chest that this guy had this 2-inch thick black band. Oh man, bands! Good Lord, thick black band that I was able to knock out a lot more of it than I expected to on the front end, but I just had a little patch right there that it needs to be light in order for this like hammerhead shark to jump forward in the foreground. I need this to be lighter, and I haven't been able to make it happen. And that was exactly what was in my mind when I was asking that question. I was like, it'd be awesome if I could just send him to someone for that spot, and then we're golden.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how much you can cover up when you start a project. Sometimes you anticipate, think I'm going to be able to cover that, but sometimes you get more or less, and so it'd be nice. Yeah, we're going to be doing more projects. We're documenting this one very, very accurately because we want to use it as a promotion to other people to do it that way.
So talk a little bit about what you just touched on. You have to be a licensed nurse to do it here in California?
And you have to work under the care of a medical director, so an MD. So we have a medical director, and then we have nurses. We just hired a physician's assistant, so it's very exciting.
Wow.
That's how it is in California and New Jersey.
Wow.
And I believe it should be like that in every state because
but most states aren't like that.
No, as easy as it looks, there is so much that goes into tattoo removal, and there's so much that you can do to damage the skin, hyperpigmentation. The list goes on. And of course, sometimes people have a reaction. Their body is reacting to the ink, and you need to call in a prescription of something. And it's just really nice to be under controlled, office like that. And people are taking care of you.
I'd like to reiterate that, man. People in the tattoo industry, tattooers especially, and me included, you look at that laser machine, you think big deal. Give me a week course on laser removal. I could do it. Yeah, man, you can. We see stuff. I know that is not true now.
Really?
Not only do you want, it's just like finding a tattooer, really. Not only do you want a great company with the right laser and all that, you want a tech that's been running that laser for a few years. Just like a brand new tattooer, they're going to probably make some mistakes, but you want that experience because they go a little too hard. Knowing someone's skin, people with lots of melanin in their skin, suddenly they've got white patches where you've removed their actual melanin from their skin, scarring. We've seen it all from other places around.
We do a lot of permanent makeup removal, and a lot of the ingredients in permanent makeup can oxidize. And so you hit it with a laser and a certain wavelength, and then all of a sudden that turns white or it turns brown. And it's just, so these girls know their stuff.
Wow.
And it's really great. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this is an incredibly expensive business to start up and to run, huh? I mean, you're competing if you're trying to get great nurses or great MDs or whatever.
That's huge.
It's enormous. It's a lot of liability. It's incredible. And there's these places opening these facilities that they're doing removal with these acids and stuff, and it's making people's skin look like leprosy. They have leprosy, and it's just there's a lot that goes into it. And yes, it took me 2 years just to open the doors, researching and finding the best laser, finding the best staff. And training, I don't just do a one-day training. It's a long process before they start treating people on their own.
Wow. But it has to make it hard to compete with. I mean, if Arizona doesn't have the same requirements,
absolutely,
it's got to be super hard to convince people like, no, you really shouldn't. This is not some place you want to penny pinch, right?
Oh, no, not at all. And we have, we get photo releases, and the ones that we can show before and afters of people that have been damaged at other facilities that, they ask certain questions. Why is the Pico, we hear it's better. It's like, well, this is what the Pico can do to you. It's a newer technology. It's extremely powerful. Sometimes it turns out great. A lot of times we see people that come in that have been really damaged, either the technician error or the actual laser itself.
So the Pico is a newer laser?
It's a different technology, yeah. And they claim that it gets
Why don't you
rid of the tattoos
a
lot quicker than the traditional Q-switch YAG, which is what we have. So we have a Q-switch YAG, been around for decades. Our laser is brand new with Estanza. We've got the Trinity 2. So we've got 3 light waves to target all tones in the skin, all pigments of ink.
Okay.
The Pico is something I looked at for a while, for a hot minute. Almost actually bought the Pico. It's much more expensive. And then I started doing a lot of research, and they've got some class action lawsuits on it because these doctors are buying these lasers and they're not working the way that they should. With all due respect, they put millions into marketing each month on these devices. They're the biggest, supply companies there are.
Pico's backed by some big money. So if you go online and just do some research, it comes up a lot.
Yeah, and I'm not saying across the board it's terrible, but I just, in my personal experience from being open for 3.5 years and seeing people come in being treated on the Pico, talking to other doctors that have the Pico that I know personally, they all end up using their Q-switch YAGs. And it's just...
And
that's all I know.
And that's a more established technology. It's been around longer.
It's been around longer, and in our machine. And they're all a little different in little ways they manufacture them. So that's why I did a lot of research. Took a good 1.5 years at least just looking at different lasers to find one that I felt really comfortable with. And I love our laser. I've never been. And I'm opening another location in Oceanside, and I will be carrying the Estanza Trinity.
Is that location independent? It's not attached to a tattoo shop?
No, it is not. It is independent.
I remember, I don't have a lot of experience in laser removal. I've tattooed a fair amount of lasered skin at this point. And I can definitely, I see what you're saying with making sure that the technician is trained well. And I've seen some bad heals and stuff like that. And even it seems, obviously the laser has an effect on skin because even when you can't see the damage to the skin, you can feel it. I'm sure you've noticed, Aaron, and I can tell when I'm going over lasered skin. It just behaves differently than
it's harder to tattoo sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially people that I did a cover up on a guy who had got a lot of laser treatment at another facility before ours. In fact, I don't know what was going on over there, but he had 30 laser treatments. But he took what was it? If you saw this thing, it was just black and purple, as black and purple as you could ever see it. And when he came to me, he had removed all of it, which he didn't need to do that, but he did that. And it took 30 laser sessions to get that thing gone. And then I told him, heal up for a little while because I knew that skin was just got worked. And then I eventually worked on it. That area, we did a full sleeve, but that area where he had those 30 sessions, I had to go back and do it 3 or 4 times. You know, everything would heal great. And then, it just wasn't dark. I'd lose stuff. It's scar tissued skin at that point.
Well, let me just correct you because it's not technically scarred. A lot of people come in saying, oh, laser is going to scar me. No, it does not scar you. It can change the matrix of the skin, especially temporarily. But it's not scarring.
It wasn't puffy, right? It wasn't a scar. When you looked at it, it looked fine. But when you tattooed it, it didn't take the ink the same, right? But that's an extreme case. Normally, if the laser's done right, nobody gets 30 sessions. That's insane. 6 for a cover up is probably average at the most.
For his, I did see his original. It would have taken more,
but not 30.
No, 30 is a little excessive.
Yeah.
Sure. And sometimes, another thing that people don't understand, I don't know if you've dealt with this, but sometimes if you don't operate these lasers right, you either turn them up too high or you use the wrong light setting, the pigment will come out of the tattoo, but then you'll be left with hypopigmentation, so whitening of the skin where you lost the melanin. Well, people think, no big deal, I'm going to tattoo over that. Well, if you're doing some, black and gray shading over a white spot in your skin next to what your normal pigment would be, you are going to see that coming through.
It comes through.
So it is really important to, when you're going through a removal process, to go to a facility that is doing it right. And the best thing I could say is make sure that you're going to a facility where they're doing these all day long. not just, a lot of
They
these
have it
med
as a
spas.
side gig.
A lot of these med spas,
yeah.
they do everything, and that's fine. We have other treatments we offer, but there are other nurses that do them and whatnot. These nurses, it's tattoo removal all day, and so they're able to see
like a
someone
tattoo.
with really dark pigment comes in with red ink, and that's the 532 light wave. Well, she wouldn't just start out with that. She'd go, oh no, wait, you've got darker pigment. We need to start with our 1064 first. Build up to it. And sometimes with people, it's not, if you come in with white skin and you want some black and gray removed, we can turn it up pretty much right away and get that thing out. But sometimes with people with different skin tones or immune disorders, we have to take it a little slower. And so sometimes it's frustrating for people, but our whole thing is just honesty. We are not going to bullshit anyone. We just want to give them the straight answer. This is going to take a lot of sessions. This is not going to take a lot. And just be straightforward with them. And
So that's interesting. So when people ask, like, how long is it going to take to do my removal? It's hard to say. It's
based on per person. The person, the tattoo, how old the tattoo is, what the person's skin tone is, what colors are in the tattoos, and also it's also could be your immune system. I mean, you could have two people come in with the exact same tattoo, same skin tone, everything identical, and one will heal quicker, one will take a lot longer. Being really healthy helps. I mean, that's a huge part. Drinking lots of water, not being a smoker, just having a good immune system, because it basically what breaks the particles up and goes into your lymph system. Your lymph system takes away those ink particles, and so the stronger your immune system is, the better.
Yeah. Are there? I know early on there were some pigments, some colors that were that we just couldn't get rid of in some of the earlier lasers. But basically everything has been addressed at this point, or no?
With certain lasers, our laser, yes, that's why we have the ruby. It's called the ruby laser, and it does target the hard to get out blacks, purples, blues, and greens. Most lasers don't. They can't get those out. The Pico, for instance, and correct me if I'm wrong, in case something was FDA approved recently, cannot get the reds and oranges out of the skin. So we see a lot of people come here too with, say it's a black tattoo and they think it's black, it starts getting removed and it starts turning blue or purple tones. And they're left with that and they're like, wait, I got a black tattoo. Why is it? It's because that ink had a little bit of that color in it and their laser can't target that. So ours can cover it all, which is great.
Yeah. So I know that early on, I remember, I want to say Guy Aitchison invested in a laser early on, and he was talking about, I forget, it cost an incredible amount of money and it wasn't able to deal with quite a few pigments. So it up until fairly recently, then it's been it's been one of those types of industries where you invest a lot of money and then suddenly something new comes out and you're like, great, I'm sitting on $100,000 paperweight now. It's worthless. And so it's been going like that until just recently.
And well, as far as I know, and I've been kind of working with lasers in the medical field and whatnot for the last 20 years. Yes, the last 5 years we've been able to knock out all the colors with my particular laser. There's a few other out there that can. It's just going with which one you feel more comfortable with. And ours has been working really well for us.
Yeah.
But something could come out next year and she'll have to get a new laser. Thank God. So far, so good. This is, as far as we know, the best thing out right now. Hopefully it stays that way.
If I would love to get a Pico someday, if I could stop seeing what's coming into our office of people getting treated on them and word on the streets from other medical providers that say that they haven't been 100% happy with it. And some of the people that love it, they've never touched other lasers. They've never used a QC, you know what I mean? So they don't understand our side of it. So that day may come. I don't know.
If someone, you said make sure that earlier you were talking about making sure that you researched, the service of the technician or the place where you're going to get the laser removal. What should people look for if they don't know? Because you're speaking a language I don't necessarily understand. If I look at people's pamphlets, they all look awesome, right? Yeah. So what kind of questions would I ask what would I be looking for?
I would ask, what other services do you offer? How often are you doing tattoo removal? I would ask what type of laser they're using and who the manufacturer is. Ask how old the machine is and how often it gets serviced. Those are really good questions. And mainly just who are you going to be seeing? Am I going to be seeing a registered nurse who just started last week and still isn't under training? Or am I seeing someone who's been here and doing this for a long time? or with someone there training with them. Yeah. They are pretty easy, but they're also, like I said, there's a lot of things that you need to look out for. I mean, we've had people, you've got to wear goggles. You can blind. I mean, if I, fired off right now and it hit your eye, you could have a very good chance of blinding you. And,
really?
And so, we've had people come in recently that Groupons, don't go to a place that offer. I would love to be able to try Groupon. I just am not a fan of it. Yeah. A lot of the times, again, people we get in from these Groupons. We had someone the other day. They're like, they didn't even put goggles on me. We never wear goggles. I'm like, what? And then another big thing with tattoo removal, you have to wait a minimum of 4 weeks between treatments. That's the very minimum. And that is if you're the type of patient with ideal skin. It's not anywhere that it's exposed to the sun. You're causing trauma to the skin and you need it to heal. And if you're coming back too soon, then that can cause hypo or hyperpigmentation. It could cause, breaking of the skin that could cause scarring. Ours has never done that, but we have seen people come in because it's just blistered so bad and so terrible. And then of course, home care they don't get. So a place that provides you with a good aftercare, and that definitely if you have any pigment to your skin at all, if you're not like white, you need to get spaced at least 6 weeks. I mean, some of our patients, we say 12 weeks apart. Now, do we make as much money because they're not coming in as much? No, but we're not the facility saying come in every 3 to 4 weeks when you've got a skin tone of, you're part Spanish. You can't do that.
And that's, you're kind of getting into what made this business is tough. In the sales area, it's tough because basically people with less morals, or the client wants to hear, I can come in every 2 weeks. I want this to have a wedding in 3 months, and so the shadier places just go absolutely, and they've got that business,
or give you.
And
false...
we're the ones telling them no, it's going to take 6 months. They're like, click, they're out.
Or they give you that's the thing, false hope. Yeah. We hear that all the time, and even us, we try to say, you give me a picture of your hand, for instance, and I'll say, okay, honestly, that's going to take at least, if you want full removal, 10 to 15 maybe sessions. And we've got to go slow and low because it's exposed to the sun. Every time you're driving in a car, everywhere you walk, even if it's cloudy, you're getting those UV rays penetrating into your skin. We want to leave it nice. And so sometimes people get discouraged about it, but if we lose people because we're being honest, then so be it. I believe in karma, and what I give out, I get back. And if I can make people happy and remove their tattoos correctly, that makes me sleep really good at night.
Yeah. You were talking about having an entire sleeve removed earlier. What would someone expect if they were trying to get something large scale lightened? Are you hitting the entire piece in a single sitting? Are you breaking?
No, we have to break it up. So first of all, you mentioned the armband. If anything goes all the way around the arm, you have to leave like 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeters of space. So you can treat the whole armband, but you got to leave a little space because of swelling. So it can actually completely cut your circulation off. So that's a big thing. And we've had a lot of people come in here that didn't have that happen at other facilities. So that's a huge thing. You can never go all the way around in one session. So we would treat the armband, and then they'd come in and we'd zap them real quick with that other little part. For doing, for instance, a full sleeve, typically we'll break that up into probably three, sometimes 4 sessions, depending on how large they are and how saturated the tattoo is. If there's a lot of negative space, less. If it's fully colored in, then we'd probably break it up into 4 sessions.
So a single pass would take up to 4 sessions to hit everything once.
They would come in every couple weeks. So we would do here, we'd let them heal, and we'd do here, and so on and so forth.
Just too much trauma.
Too much trauma.
To do an entire arm.
And it's hard on the immune system too. We've got a lot of people that we do full sleeves, backs and everything. And, it's pretty gnarly. Like it's good. You definitely will blister, which is 100% expected. People get scared. Like, I'm not a scar. No, we give you the aftercare. If you follow the protocol, you're good. But it's pretty, you want to take it easy. You don't want to go in jacuzzis and oceans. Right. You want to drink lots of water and take care of yourself. You don't want to go partying hard if you did a huge area. Treat it well.
So if someone were looking to have something lightened to be covered, they would typically come to you first, right? So if they were starting the process, they would come to the tattooer first. You would make the plan and then get with Holly on how.
Yes and no.
Well, if their client's a guru, because all of our guys know we have this service, then but a lot of these people are coming in. They already have artists that they're going to be going to and stuff. So those people, we just start removal on them and advise them to talk to their artist and get advice from their artist, or let them at least know, you might want to talk to your artist because maybe we don't have to. But here, yeah, we do that. All our guys know to do that. Like if you come to me, like, I want to get this gone because I want you to do my new sleeve, then I would do what I said to you before. Yeah. We'd start strategize this thing, what really has to go? What's the most smart way to go about this? And each case is different, Yeah,
and when they come from other artists, we'll say, because they don't know, we don't know quite what we're going to do, but we're definitely going to cover the whole thing. I'm like, look, let's just knock out at least 1 or 2 sessions. That'll give you time to work with the artist as the tattoo is getting lighter and lighter. Yeah. And then we'll kind of determine how many more sessions and what areas to continue to treat.
Yeah, yeah. And this is obviously a business that's just going to continue to grow just because of the growth of popularity of tattoos and the kind of, we were talking about with Fibs earlier, just the level of education that our clientele has now that they didn't used to. A lot of people didn't recognize that they had really bad tattoos until they started seeing really great tattoos. And then, so it just seems like something that will just it's not going away anytime soon. And it'll continue to be the best option, do you think? I mean, you were talking earlier about some of these others. There's one that you can kind of like tattoo in the skin. Those will never be competitors.
I honestly, unless you literally surgically remove the tattoo, as of now, I don't know of any technology that's going to beat it. But yeah, it's great. We see so many, just little flaws. Maybe the artist did an initial wrong. It's awesome because we have the ability now. This artist that's freaking out, we had one recently, and he's like, "Oh my gosh," he's at another shop, and he's like, "I feel so bad. I turned this letter around. It was," and it's like, "Nope, don't worry. We'll work with you. We're gonna get this, taken off, and then you can fix it for them." Yeah. So it's really great.
Yeah, that's awesome. So if people want to reach out to you if they're in this area, or even, it sounds to me that even if you're in a state where where the restrictions aren't what they are here, as far as the certification or the what it takes to become a technician, what's the best way for them to reach out? How do they have to book way off in advance? Obviously, the treatments are super fast. I've seen a few people kind of come and go today.
They're pretty quick. Yeah. So you're saying if they want to
come to you specifically?
Yeah, so basically they can email us. Typically, we have an online consultation form. They can fill it out. It gives us a little insight of what they're wanting to achieve. They can upload photos. That helps us. And that's one of the unique things about us, because we have a lot of people fly in from other states and whatnot because of our laser. And we're able to kind of give them pricing before they come in. Not set pricing, but we can give them a range, an estimate. And then from there, they book their appointment. We get them all set up. It's never guaranteed that they're going to be able to get treated until they actually see our nurse and have our doctor sign off on it. But that's how the process would work. And if anyone is out there in other states or other parts of the world that ever has any questions, I am always here to answer it. I have a lot of people call me from different states. Where do I go? And if they don't have our laser in their particular area, I will help research and try to find a facility that does it. And I've called facilities before and talked to the staff there, how long have you been doing this? Blah, I want to see before and after pictures, make sure they're not stock. I want to see real pictures. It is hard to get full removal. That's the only issue with my business. Yeah. When we have all these full removal photos, first, they've got to allow us to post photos, which is not everyone wants their photo, even though it doesn't show their face. But the other thing is once they're done with tattoo removal, why do they want to come back in just for a picture? So that is the only, it's a bummer. But I'm happy to help and guide them the best I can.
You mentioned they would do a consultation to make sure that they could get treated. What would keep someone from being able to get treated?
Medications they're on, autoimmune diseases, that sort of thing. If they're on an antibiotic that has any sensitivity to sunlight, that's another thing. Like you've got to make sure. That's why when you go to these facilities that aren't under a medical director and having a registered nurse do them, sometimes people come, I'm on doxycycline or something, and they'll just forget, because they're not trained every day. Well, that causes sun sensitivity. You are going to get so much damage if that tattoo that got treated is in the sun. If you're on that antibiotic, it's heat. Even just the heat from the laser and the light, it will just right there. So you can have some damage. Yeah. It's not as easy as people think.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
I knew so little about it coming in that I know last year when we first talked about setting this up, maybe this last time I saw you, you were mentioning the uphill battle of having to be, only nurses and doctors could do this in California as opposed to other areas. And I left going like, wow, well, we really have a huge advantage in Tennessee not having that requirement. But it sounds like we also have a lot more risk in Tennessee than you do out here.
You do. I mean, it is. But all I can say is to anyone in a state that doesn't require a medical director or a registered nurse is just train, and go within the guidelines. Don't just be pompous one day and lackadaisical and be like, oh, let's just hit this right here. And let's just do that. You just got to go according to protocol.
Yeah.
And study the skin, man. You got to learn skin, touch it, look at it, feel it. There's a lot that goes into it.
So similar to tattooing in a lot of ways, right? It's kind of learning to read saturation levels for us, or read damage for.
Absolutely. And same with the aftercare. I tell people all the time, I'm like, you know how you took care of that tattoo after? You keep it clean. You want to keep, all of that is the exact same thing with tattoo removal. It can be a little more intense because of the blistering, but generally speaking, you do the same thing.
Same idea.
As tattoos. Getting a new tattoo.
If someone wants to get tattooed, are you taking anything new now? Or what's the best way?
I never really close my books. You know, I just tell people I'm taking a handful of new clients per year. I'd say I'm after big format stuff. Sleeves. I've got tons of sleeves on my books. So I'm looking for a lot of torso, man. Give me a front, give me a back, give me a shoulder to knee. If you've got that type of project, email me. I'm not going to say I 100% will do it, but I'm always looking for select projects to bring into my schedule.
Yeah. And they're big projects. Emily and I last night watched, when we got back to the Airbnb, she was like, well, you should watch your last interview with Aaron so you don't ask the same stuff, or so you can refresh yourself. I was like, yeah. So it was funny. We were taught, what was the piece, the day that we walked in that you were working on, the Zeus makes the guy push the boulder up the hill.
The myth of Sisyphus.
Yeah, myth of Sisyphus. So that piece, that piece you talked about, and we're starting out on, I guess, a year and a half ago when we did the first show.
We talked about it in the
last one. And then we walked in the other day and talked about it. And I didn't make the connection when you were talking about it the other day. But when I saw it on the show last night, I was like, oh, crazy. That's the piece that he was just working on the other day. But you took a break to do a sleeve, and now you're back on that piece again. Right?
Yeah, because he was already getting his back, butt, thighs done, and he had this arm-ish. He wanted to work that out, so I dove over there and helped him with that, and now we're back to the back. Yeah. But he's close. I guess that was a year and a half ago. Yeah, he's probably about a 2-year project.
Yeah. Finished with his residency?
Yeah.
He is, yeah. He's been working as an ER doctor the whole time I've been tattooing him. And in fact, he's actually leaving that now. It's even like the night shifts and the hours. He's going into a family practice.
That's like the PA that's going to be working with me. She's like, I'm sick of the ER. I can't do it.
He wants out.
Yeah. So that's probably a good kind of recruiting tool that you have, is that it's something interesting and fun and new that a lot of.
She's so excited. And up in North County, that's like, we also have a sister company, which is our skin spa, because I'm a medical esthetician. So I do all the micro needling and stuff. And so she'll be doing some, some of the aesthetic side of it, Botox, filler, all of that. So we're kind of expanding into that area with the sister company. So
yeah. I was thinking when I was thinking about the tough competition and the expense of bringing people over, I was just thinking about competing, paying what hospitals or offices would pay.
I see what you mean.
But people probably want to get out of that, and this is probably a way more interesting gig, huh?
And I can't say this across the board with all physicians, but the word on the streets, just from my people I'm in touch with. I mean, I know an internist that just finally, she was a part of a big medical group here and Scripps, and she's left. She goes, I just can't take it. It's so much liability, and they're taking their pay away. The PA that's working with me, she's like, the ER, we used to have 12-hour shifts. Now we're doing 6. I can't even follow a patient from start to finish with those hours. And now the health benefits are being taken away because they're just cutting and pinching the healthcare system in America. So that's a whole new podcast.
It's a different podcast.
So they both are like, we just want to be in a happy environment where people come in and, especially with tattoo removal, we're making their dream come true. We didn't like this, our ex-boyfriend's name, whatever it is. They leave at the end of the day happy. And our nurses don't work nights and weekends. Weekends they do, but of course, if we have an emergency, all of our patients can call us at all times. But generally speaking, they work normal hours and they make really good money. And
they don't have to clean bedpans.
Nope.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
The charting is so much easier. I mean, it's just across the board a really nice situation for them.
So how do people reach out to you if they want to, if they're interested in getting removal done?
Our website is evolvetattooremoval.com. Okay. And they can also email me directly at holly@evolvetattooremoval.com. or through our general form online.
And do you have any social media where people can see before,
Yes,
after all that?
Evolve Tattoo Removal on Instagram, Facebook. They can see a lot of stories, a lot of before and afters, and a lot of in progress, because as you know, they don't come back a lot of times after the full removal, but you can kind of see the process and actually see the laser in action and see what it's going to do and all of that. So it's real informative.
Awesome. We'll put all that in the show notes. And Aaron Della Vedova art, are there any underscores in that? Or it's just Aaron
For
Della?
Instagram, Aaron Della Vedova _art, gurutattoo.com, Aaron at gurutattoo.com is my email.
And I should say Evolve is Evolve_tattoo_removal.
Gotcha.
For Instagram.
For Instagram.
Yeah. Damn underscores.
I know.
We're all stuck with it. All right. Well, thank you guys, as always, for supporting what we do. Thank you guys for taking the time. We appreciate it.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, and thanks for the week. We had a blast here. We're flying out later today, but it's been great.
You have a great family.
Even though it rained
Thank you.
more, yeah, you do. Even though it rained more in San Diego than I've ever seen before.
That we've ever seen. It's crazy.
Yeah, but it was still cool. So thank you guys. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.